Hi guys, welcome back for episode number 34 of the weekly playback. I know it's been a super long time. I was supposed to go to PAX East a couple of weeks ago, the weekend of April 22nd, but the weekend before that I tested positive for COVID. So I didn't get to go to PAX East, and then I spent some time recovering, and I've had a lingering cough even though I am no longer positive for COVID and haven't been for quite some time. I've had this lingering cough, and it's not as bad, but I might end up coughing throughout this video like just now a little bit, so I hope it will not be too annoying. But I have so many games to discuss, but none from PAX East, of course, since I didn't get to go. But, you know, I'll talk a bit about the games that I did get to play in the last couple of weeks. So let's start with Living Forest, which is on my shelf over here. So I will just pull it off. So this is a game designed by Eske Christiansen. It's a 2021 game. The art is by Apolline Etienne and is published by Ludonaut, and it's for 1 to 4 players. And this is a deck building game with some push your luck, tile placement, and a bit of race, like a race to the game end. So like you know, who triggers the game end and then who will actually get to be in the running for the winner. So each player is going to have a board, and on this board you are going to be collecting different kinds of tree tiles. Excuse me. So, oh gosh, let's see. So each player starts with a deck of cards. So let me just show you an example of that. It's been, I think, a little over a week since I've played this, so my memory might not be that great. So here is a deck of cards that each player starts with, and you are going to be, you know, everyone's going to be simultaneously drawing cards from their deck until they choose to stop. So there is a push your luck element to this. So if you end up drawing a card that has this symbol in it, you know, that's not a good card. And if you end up getting 3 of them during a round, then you will only be able to take 1 action that round. However, if you only have 2 of them, then you'll get to take 2 actions, 2 or fewer. So the cards without that symbol are, like, you know, good cards. And then the cards with that symbol, they'll still give you something, but, you know, you're pushing your luck when you get that card to come up. So you can draw as many cards in a round as you want, you know, but again, push your luck. So the various actions available to you are to buy a tile. Buy is the wrong word. I mean, you'll have a certain number of symbols. Oh, they all fell out. Okay, so there's going to be these tree tile holders, which I don't have assembled right now. And there's going to be a certain number of each kind in each slot. And you can only buy one, you can only get one tile of one tree of each kind in your board. And when you put it on your board, you're trying to complete these columns or rows so that you can get the added benefit. So the different symbols on the cards will basically be your actions that you're going to be allowed to do. You're going to like total those up and then see which action you can do. So, you know, you might be able to get a tile, you might be able to go around this like fire, this campfire board, you might be able to get a new card to add to your deck. You might be able to put out a fire, and I'll get to all of those. So if you want to get a tree, you're going to add up all of your tree symbols to see what kind of a tree you can get. So they're going to have a different plant cost. And then you're going to put it on your board. And when you put it on your board, if you fill up this column, that will provide you with an additional water symbol each round. If you fill up this row, for example, that'll give you an additional 2 points. So the game end triggers are if someone gets 12 of these fire tokens, if someone has 12 points, or if they have all 12 trees. And each player starts the game with some of these tokens. So let me just show you. I don't think they're called tokens. I don't know what they're called. So each player starts the game with 3 of these. And so this will provide a player with like that will count as any one wild tree. This will count as a point, and this will count as a fire token. So each player starts with those, and each player does start with a tree in the center of their board as well. So essentially each player starts with 2 trees. Excuse me. So On your turn, if you choose to get a tree, then you will add that tree to your board, adjacent to a tree that you already have on your board. If you choose to get a card, there's going to be a market of cards, and they're going to differ in different kinds of sun values. So there will be some cheaper cards, and then more expensive cards, and then the most expensive cards, and you know, they'll get better and better in abilities. So just some examples of different kinds of cards you might be able to acquire in the market. And there are cards that you might want to acquire which will let you counteract the bad symbols. So let me show you an example of one. So this card, if you have that and you draw that during your turn, it will counteract a bad symbol. So let's suppose you drew 3 of those bad symbols, but you had one of those good cards, then you technically count it as only 2 bad cards, so you would still get to take 2 actions. So this isn't, you know, where the deck building aspect comes in. You're going to be trying to acquire more and more of these good cards. There's going to be some fire tokens in the center of this board. So one of the actions you can use is to count up your water symbols to try to put out these fires. And the different fires have different numbers on them. So let's suppose you had 6 water symbols. And let's suppose there was a 4 and a 2 value and a 2 value fire. You could put out the 4 and the 2. However, let's suppose there was a 2 and a 2 and a 2. Then you might want to use your 6 waters to put out all 3 2s instead of the 4, because then that will give you 3 fire tokens and help you get to that game end trigger faster and put you in the running for winning the game. Fire is bad because if there's any fire left in the campsite after, or I don't know if it's called a campsite, I don't know what it's called. If there's any fire left in the forest after everyone has taken their turn, then players who do not have enough water in their cards or board currently to extinguish the fire, if your water is not greater than the fire, then you'll have to take a fire card and add it to your deck, which is bad. And these are the fire cards. So you will try to get rid of these. One of the ways to get rid of those is by using these symbols, these things, which you can earn. So the other action you can take is to go around on this board, and if you jump over another player, you will be able to take one of their token thingies. And so I'll get to, I'll explain my thoughts about that in a little bit. And then whichever spot you land in, you'll get either the resource or the action that it allows you to do. So that's the other action you can take, which is indicated by the spiral. So the spiral means you'll go around on that board. So the spiral lets you go around on that board. The plant symbol lets you buy a tree. There's point symbols, which just, help you to get to the 12 points, which is one of the game end triggers. The sun lets you acquire cards, and the water lets you to put out the fire. And some of these cards will have like a minus symbol. So, that will subtract from the suns that you'll have available in that round. Essentially the game. So again, the game end triggers are to either have 12 different trees on your board, to have 12 fire tokens, or to have 12 points. And then whoever is in the running for winning will, get to count up how many things they have. And then whoever has the most, I believe, will win the game. I believe that's how it went in the end. I was not in the running for winning. So my one complaint about this game was it felt a lot like tug of war. It just felt like, I would steal someone's thing and then they would just steal it back, and then I would just steal it again and they would just steal it back, and it just went on and on like that. And it just seemed like, the game was not really progressing. At a certain point I was like, wow, this is just going on forever. None of us are really getting close to the game end. So I only played it once, and I played it at a 4-player count. So I don't know, I would like to play it again and see how I feel about it. But my first experience, I just wasn't that wowed by it. And I had heard a lot about this game. It was at PAX Unplugged. I didn't get a chance to play it at PAX Unplugged, but that's how I learned about this game. I heard that people had picked it up at Essen, and people were really excited about it. They said it was amazing, and so I was really keen to try it, but I just was not as impressed. I don't know how much replayability value it will hold over time. But yeah, so that's my, those are my initial thoughts on the game. It just felt like a lot of tug of war, just going back and forth, the tokens, which made it harder for someone to trigger game end. So maybe we should have focused more on getting the cards. Maybe that would have, allowed game end to come faster. I don't know. But the artwork is really pretty. So, you know, if that's the kind of artwork you're into, it's like a very like glowy kind of artwork. It like makes you feel like, I guess, you know, it makes sense with the theme of the game, living forest, like, oh, the forest is glowing. So the artwork seems like it's glowing. So the artwork is cool. I don't know if this is one that will stay in my collection. I bought this from TGG Games when I visited their store in Las Vegas in December. But like I said, I don't know if I'll keep this one. But let me just put this back and grab the next game I'll talk about. So the next game I want to discuss is Renature. So Renature, I'm just going to discuss all the nature-y themed games I played first, since there's 3 of them in total. Okay, so Renature is a 2020 game. It is designed by Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer. The art is done by Dennis Lahausen. It's from Deep Print Games and Capstone. I have the Capstone edition, Capstone Games edition. And it's for 2 to 4 players. This is an area majority enclosure game with tile placement. I don't know if I've ever talked about this game before. I've only ever played it at 2 players. I believe this was my 2nd or 3rd time playing it. So you have this big board. I'm not going to open the whole board, but you will get a sense of what it looks like. And there's going to be these tiles that you have, like these domino-like tiles with animals on them. Different kinds of animals, and each player is going to have a personal board, and on your personal board you're going to have different sized trees, plants, and you're going to have some cloud tokens as well. So let me just show you some of the different tokens. Like, so there's like the colors I think are just kind of ugly. So there's orange, blue, black, and white, and then the brown is a neutral color. So those are the player colors. Let me just show you a bigger black one. So like these are like the trees and the plants that you're adding to the board. Each player will have their own player colors, and then they'll have a certain number of neutral ones, which is important. And so on your turn, oh god, it's been a while since I played. So you're going to put down a tile, and then if you can put down a plant, and then different plants will score. So when you put down a tile, you put down the tile on the green spaces. They can't like go into the brown spaces. And in the brown spaces, there are going to be these like scoring tokens. Let me just see if I can pull some of those out. So yeah, so you'll have these scoring tokens in the brown sections for each brown section. And once an area is enclosed, meaning no other tile can be put around a brown section, that area is going to be scored. And you are going to see then who has the majority in that area, counting up their various plant types. So different plants have different values. So for example, the smallest plant has a value of 1, the next biggest plant has a value of 2, then 3, then 4. You're going to count up the values to see who has the majority in it. Now, you can end up screwing yourself over or other players by using your neutral colored plants and placing those in areas. So I actually ended up screwing myself over where I did end up putting a higher value of neutral colored plants in an area in which I was in. So then I did not get the high score from that area. I would get the lower score in that case. And if players tie, they basically, I believe, get knocked out. So tied players don't even get to count. So whoever has the majority will get the top value points, and then the other player will get the bottom value. And then whoever has the majority will get to keep this, because then there's points on the back that you'll score in the end. However, at the end of the game, if there are any areas that need to be scored, you'll score them, but then the person doesn't, no one gets to keep it. So you won't get the additional points. So you want to try and close off some of the bigger areas, which will give you some bigger points. But when you place tiles, so you can place tiles in a way that each animal has to connect to its own animal kind, unless it's the wild animal of the round. So there will be a token here which moves, which you can move by using cloud tokens throughout the game. Each player starts with a certain number of cloud tokens, and if you don't use your cloud tokens to either move the wild animal marker, to take a second turn in a row, or to what else can you do? Oh, you can retrieve a plant that you had previously placed. So if you don't use a cloud token by the end of the game, each one will be worth a point for you at the end. So you can move the wild token throughout the game, but each animal has to be placed next to an animal of its own kind, unless of course it's the current wild animal. So that is the gist of the game. So there is definitely more strategy to this game than meets the eye in terms of scoring, in terms of deciding which plants to place down, which value plants to place down, whether you want to place neutral plants or your own colored plants. So there definitely is more strategy to this game than meets the eye. And I would definitely like to play it at a higher player count. So in terms of theme, I honestly think that this could have been any theme and it still would have worked. I think like I said, I think the actual player piece colors are ugly and do not go with the theme. Like you have this board with pretty animals on it, and then you have these, like in a 2-player game, it's black and white trees and plants with, of course, the neutral colors mixed in. And I'm like, it's just ugly. It just doesn't go with the theme of nature, of trees and plants. Like, why couldn't they have picked like pretty, like flowery tree colors, like, pink and purple or something like that, or different shades of green and orange and yellow for like fall themed trees. I don't know, but the white and the black just did not do it for me. I don't like it. I really think they should have picked some other colors for the player pieces, but very nice chunky pieces. Love the artwork of the animals. Again, the animal artwork and the animal pieces and how you place them, that doesn't feel thematic either. It just feels like, because it's not like it's not like you're putting down animals next to different animals will end up being grouped near other animals, which they may not even exist with in actual nature. So that, again, doesn't feel very thematic. So, it just really feels like a tile placement game where the theme was kind of slapped on and not much consideration was given to the colors. So I wish that they had given more consideration to the player piece colors. But for now, I'll keep it because I would really like to try it at a higher player count. Go in. Oh, sorry. Okay. I just didn't want a big game on my table while I continue. Okay, so let's talk about Canopy. So Canopy is a 2021 game designed by Tim Eisner. The art is done by Vincent Dutray. It is from Weird City Games for 1 to 4 players. I did not know it was for 1 to 4 players. I thought it was only a 2-player game or a solo game. I played it as a 2-player game. So this is an open drafting push your luck set collection game. Now I will say that I and the person I played this with, who is my playtesting buddy, were disappointed with it. We didn't even finish it because we were disappointed with it. So you have a bunch of these, excuse me, of them. Let me pull them out. Oh God, it's So you're gonna have like a bunch of these cards that have like different kinds of plants or animals on them. Some of them are gonna be like canopy cards, some of them are gonna be tree trunk cards and stuff like that. So you are trying to basically create a forest and score your forest. And we only completed 1 round and we didn't even score our trees. So we were just like, after 1 round, we just did not want to continue playing this. And the reason being, so I know that the rule book, so originally we did not realize that the solo, because we thought that this was only the solo rule book, so we didn't like look into this rule book further to see that, okay, some of the cards actually are explained. So we realized that towards the end of the round. But basically how it plays is you're gonna have a board. There's like gonna be like 3 different spots in a season. You're going to have 3 seasons, which are like the 3 rounds of the game, and you're going to be looking at the cards in 1 slot, see if you want them. If you don't want them, then you'll draw a card from the pile and add it to that pile of cards. Then you'll move on to the next one, decide if you want it. If you don't want it, you'll do the same. You'll draw a card from the top of the draw pile and add it to that pile. Then you can look at the 3rd pile and see if you want that. And if you take it, great. If not, then again, you draw a card and add it to that pile. And if you skip over all 3 piles, then you'll just take a card from the draw pile, and that will be the card you must keep for that round. If you take any one of the 3 piles, then you will keep that pile and take all of the cards, unless you have an ability that allows you to leave something behind, and then you will draw a card from the draw deck and put it in that slot. So it's like you're kind of there's like a push your luck element where you may not want certain cards, so you might hope for something better and pass the 1st pile and hoping that you get something better in the second pile. The issue was that I did not feel, neither me nor my gaming friend felt like that the cards were intuitive, that the symbols were intuitive. Like, you know, it says card type is indicated up in the corner, and we're like, okay, well, what is the card type? Like, we couldn't find, like, you know, a glossary explaining what the different symbols are. I wonder if it's even in here. Yeah, I don't even think it's in here. Well, I guess kind of. It doesn't. Okay, so it looks like there's some different kinds of plants, and then there's seeds. There's different kinds of threat cards that you'll need to resolve. I don't know. Maybe I should give it another try. But just from the first play, we just were not really into it. It just did not feel like there was much control over things. It just felt like very luck-based as well. I don't know. But maybe I should try it again. And maybe, you know, not any trunks were coming up, and some of the cards, like the cards also indicate like where in the forest, like what level that card can be. And some of them just didn't make sense to us. Like, we're like, okay, does this, like, one that didn't make sense to us was, let me try to find it if I can. This, like, lianas, like, we were like, okay, like, no, not this one, it was a different one. Orchid. It was orchid. Like, so orchid shows like something highlighted here, so we thought it would go like on the second level. So, you know, we were like, is this a plant that goes to the side, or does it actually go on the tree? I wonder if this book specifies. Let me see, because I actually didn't. Orchid. Is orchid in here? I don't see orchid. Yeah, I don't even think orchid is mentioned in here. Oh, okay, oh, here it is. Yeah, at the end of the season, if you have 2 or more rain cards than sun cards, or 2 or more sun cards than rain cards, you must discard the orchid before scoring. But even that doesn't tell us if it goes on the actual tree or to the side. So, like, based on the symbol, I thought it would go on a tree trunk, and that's where I put it. But even here, like, you still can't tell. So that frustrates me, because we each start with a tree trunk. So I can show you the tree trunk that we each start with. And so I had put my orchid right above my tree, but then I think my friend, because I thought it could be a second level of the forest, but then I think my friend said that it's not supposed to be like that, because I think you could only have, I don't know. So because now I'm seeing an example where a tree can be taller. So a tree can be up to 3 levels, or at least in this example, but maybe it can be even taller than that. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of stuff was unexplained, and we went to BGG, the forums, and we couldn't really find our answers for some of the questions we had popping up while we were playing this game. So it just left me feeling really frustrated. If you have this game, let me know. Am I just being super harsh on it for no reason? I don't know. If you have it, please let me know. And if there's like some just really obvious explanations for these like symbols on the cards, and you know where cards are supposed to go, then please let me know, because neither my friend nor I were able to really figure it out, and so we just got frustrated and stopped playing. so yeah, so that was a game that we played for 1 round. So yeah. So for now, I'll keep it in my collection, and I'll give people a chance to maybe tell me I did something completely wrong, and maybe I can play it again correctly, or find some better explanations for the rules or something like that. I don't know. The next game we'll talk about is Hidden Leaders. So I backed this on Kickstarter, like I did Canopy. I had also backed that as well. So I backed this one. So this is Hidden Leaders for 2022. It's designed by Andreas Muller, Marcus Muller, and Raphael Stocker, and the art is by Satoshi Matsura, and I really love the artwork. It's published by BFF Games for 2 to 6 players. It is a deduction, hidden roles, hand management, tug of war kind of game. Now, I only play this at 2 players. I think it would really shine at a higher player count. I absolutely love the artwork. By the way, I just really love the paper of this rule book, like really nice quality paper. Like yeah. Okay, so and this board is really nice. It has spot gloss on it as well. So it's like a tug of war. There's going to be 2 different tokens on here. There's going to be the green, I don't remember what they're called, and then the red. I think one is like Imperial something, and the green is like the tribe or something like that. Let's see what they're called again. Yeah, the red is the Imperial Army, and the green is the Hill Tribes, and each player is going to be secretly assigned leader at the beginning of the game. And those 2 marks you see on your card are your 2 tribes that you control. So you are a part of those 2 tribes that are on the card that you have. So when I played, I was a part of the undead and the hill tribe. And then there is also the blue, which is the water something. What are they called? Water folk. And yeah, and the black is the undead. The Kickstarter edition included these, which will tell you how many cards you need depending on the player count. Actually, I think, let me see. I don't remember. Here it is. I think this will tell you. So yeah, so 2 players, you'll need 8 cards before you in your, is it called army or troop or something? I don't know, party. If you're in a 3 or 4 player game, it'll be 7 cards, 7 face-up cards. If it's 5 player, 6 cards. If it's 6 player, 5 cards. I hope I did that right. So it comes with these nice tokens as a reminder if you want that. So basically on your turn, so each player is going to be dealt out a number of these cards. You're going to have so many of them, and the artwork is so freaking cool on these cards. I just really, really love them. So you're going to start the game, and you're going to, at the beginning of the game, you'll have 5 cards. So you're going to put 1 face down, which is going to form your hidden tribe. And then you're going to have 3 in your hand, and you're going to discard 1 to the, I don't remember what it was called, the forest or something like that. And on your turn, so what you're going to do is you're going to play a card and perform its abilities, or discard up to 3 cards. So you'll play a card from your hand of 3, play its abilities, or discard up to 3 cards. Then you can draw cards from the harbor and or the taverns. So there's taverns here, and underneath each tavern there's always going to be 1 face-up card, and then there's going to be the harbor over here with a deck of face-down cards. And then, so you're going to draw until you have a hand of 4 after you play a card or discard, and then you're going to discard down back to 3 by putting a card in the discard pile up here. And then you're going to refill the tavern with cards from the harbor if the tavern is empty. So in this game, you're trying to influence these markers, because the win conditions for the different tribes is, so you're at the end of the game, once someone has a certain number of cards in their tribe or whatever, before them face up, that will trigger the game end, which we already discussed the different game end conditions. Then you're going to see who won. So you're going to look at the markers on this board, and you're going to go in order. So the undead is the first one that you'll check for. If both the green and the red markers are in the dark area, then the undead will win. If they don't win, then you go to the water folk. If both the green and the red marker are on the same space or next to each other, then they'll win. If they haven't won, then you go and check for the Imperial Army. If the Imperial Army is at least 2 steps ahead of the hill tribes, then the Imperial Army will win. And if they didn't win either, then finally you'll go and see if the hill tribes won. And the hill tribes need to be at least 2 steps ahead of the Imperial Army to have won. So you're going to check, and if none of them won, then no one wins. I believe that was the rule. So if there's a tie, you're going to see how many, and this is where, the interesting part comes in. If there's a tie, because both me and my opponent tied, then you're going to see how many in your army or tribe, whatever it's called, you have of the winning faction. So you're going to see how many of these cards you have laid out before you, and in your hidden tribe, which is face down, which you might be able to add to throughout the game, or even another player might be able to impact that somehow. So, oh, I chipped a nail. So you're going to, check your tribes and then see who has the most from the winning faction, and then that person would win. And, this nail is really bothering me. I hate when I chip my nails. Okay, and oh no. Okay, and if there's still a tie, then the next winning tiebreaker is the player with the lowest, they're called heroes. The player with the lowest total number of heroes in their party wins. So that's the second tiebreaker. And if there's still a tie, tied players compare the number in the bottom left corner of their leader cards. The player whose leader card has the highest number wins. So there's 3 different tiebreakers. But again, I only played with 2 players, and we only needed the first tiebreaker in order to determine who won, which was me. But yeah, I really like it. It reminded me a lot in some ways of the War of Whispers. Just, having, this is not an area control game, but just, having some kind of hidden hidden like hidden identities, trying to influence how different troops and things move on a board. Yeah, so it reminded me a lot of A War of Whispers in that way. I really like A War of Whispers, so I actually really like this game as well, and I definitely want to play it at a higher player count. So yeah, so if you don't have this, I would recommend it. I think it's a really nice small box game, and the artwork is just really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, so that was Hidden Leaders. So now let's go on to let's talk about Latte Throwdown. So Latte Throwdown is a 2020 game designed by Corey Keller. The art is by Michael Christopher, and it's by Analog Game Studios for 2 to 4 players. This is a dice rolling game. So I only played this 2-player. It's a very simple game. So on this board, you are going to have different, this is the score tracker up here. The game end is triggered once someone reaches 20 points and they win immediately. You're going to have these different kinds of latte cards, which you're going to be trying to fulfill with different dice combinations. So you will have as many cards as indicated by the rulebook for the number of players. So in a 2-player game, it was 3 of these out at any one time. Not at any one time per round, I should say. You're going to have barista cards at the top of the board, which will give you special abilities. So on your turn, you can use one of the special, so there will be 3 face-up barista cards, which you can use with your dice. So each player is going to have 5 dice. And you're going to be trying to assign those dice values to the different latte cards that are present in order to score those latte cards. And as soon as you have dice beneath the latte card that, you know, meets the requirements, then you immediately score it and you add that latte card to your own pile. And so you'll immediately go up on the score track, and then you'll get to remove the latte card. And if you have dice underneath it, you get to take back your dice. If another player had dice underneath the latte card that just got scored, they'll get to take back those dice as well. Otherwise, a player at the beginning of their turn can choose whether or not they want to take back dice from somewhere. I think, oh no, did I just rip that a little? I hate when that happens. You see that? Okay. So yeah, so each player has 5 dice in their own color, and then there are surplus dice, the red ones, which you can earn from barista cards, or if you, at the start of the next round, are the player that's farther behind, you will get to take a surplus die from the surplus dice and be able to use that in the next round. Super simple game. It just seemed like a race, you know, very much luck based. We were like, yeah, let's think of ways to make this better. So we actually ended up playing this game like, I think 5 times. We would come up with rules of our own and then think of ways to make it more balanced, more fun, and more competitive. So that's what we were doing when we played it. Because otherwise it's really just a dice rolling game, and the theme and the mechanics don't really have anything to do with each other. It's not like when you're rolling dice and fulfilling these latte cards, like you feel like you're actually making a latte or drinking coffee or anything like that. You know, it really has nothing to do with the theme. It could have been any themed, you know, game whatsoever. So yeah, so you know, so we came up with some rules, like where if you, because on this board, if you roll 2 of the same numbers, you can change up the barista cards, like you can replace them with new barista cards. So we decided of the equal dice, then you can replace all the barista cards with new ones. So we decided for one of our rounds, our games of this, that we would, if you have 2 of the same dice, you could use those to purchase a card, and that will become your card for that round, and you will not refill it immediately. What were some of the other rules we tried? That surplus, I think if you have a surplus die and you use it on a latte card, it has to go back to the surplus area. You don't get it back immediately, which in the regular rules I believe you do until, of course, the end of the round, and then you would discard your surplus dice at the end of the round. What else did we try? We were just coming up with different rules on how to improve this game and make it more competitive and fun. I don't remember what the other rules were that we came up with, but it just seemed a bit odd to me that while we were sitting there and playing this a couple of times, that we were able to come up with ideas that we think made the game better. And then I'm like, I don't know how much this game got play tested. I don't know who the intended audience is for this. I don't think it's gamers, like hobby gamers. I think that this game would be more for kids who just really want to chuck dice. But then again, kids don't really drink coffee. So I honestly don't know who the intended audience is for this game. Maybe people who just like coffee, but if you like coffee and you are a gamer, I highly recommend the game Cafe. Like, yeah, Cafe is such a good game. It's from Pythagoras Games, and yeah, yeah, that's the game I would recommend if you want a coffee-themed game. So yeah, you know, if I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not. If I do, I'm always going to play with house rules to make it a little bit more competitive. We found when we played with our own made-up rules that we were closer to each other on the score track. The game felt more competitive. So yeah, I'll just keep it that way. All right, let's move on to Tea for Two. I'm not sure if I've ever discussed Tea for Two in one of these longer videos, but I've played it a handful of times now. So this is a 2020 game designed by Cedric Chaboussi, and the art is by Amandine Dugan. It's published by Space Cowboys. It's a 2-player game. It is a deck building and take that game. Now it's Alice in Wonderland themed. Underneath each of these sections, you're going to have different cards of a single type. So let me just pull those out. So each player will have their own starting deck of cards. There's blue and pink with different numbers on them. They are numbered 1 through 9 with different characters from Alice in Wonderland. And on your turn, basically, you're just going to shuffle your cards and you're just going to draw a card simultaneously and reveal it. And then whoever has the highest number will be the winner of that round. So it's kind of like War. I don't know if you guys ever played War when you were kids, just with a simple deck of cards. It was like a card game that just never ended. So like, for example, if blue had 9 and I had 4, blue would win, and then at that point blue could determine whether they want to use the special ability on their card or if they want to buy a card from the market for the value of that they have. So they would have 9 minus 4, so they would have 5 to spend, and the cards here are valued 4 through 8. So, but if they have some of these tart tokens, which we kept on calling pizza because they look like pizza to us, then you could turn in these tart tokens to increase your spending power. Earn, and there is this like first player, well, not first player marker necessarily, but this would determine like tiebreakers. And you're going to have these tokens on top of the different piles of cards. And so on this board, and then any cards, the cards that were depleted at the end of the game, you will score, in addition to all the stars you've earned from the cards that you collected and in any other ways throughout the game, you will also score stars for the different tokens on top of the depleted piles. And then there's also a pile of bunnies. So every time you have to shuffle your deck, like your drawing deck runs out and you have to shuffle, you're going to take one of these bunnies and add it to your deck. One of the game end triggers is that there's no more bunnies left for people to draw when they need to take a bunny and add it to their deck. Or the other game end trigger was that a certain number of these piles are depleted, and I don't remember how many. 4 of the scoreboard's 5 character piles are depleted. We triggered game end from depleting the bunny pile instead. So yeah, it's an interesting game. You know, it's fun. It's not super strategic because it's very much luck dependent as well, you know, depending on which number you draw, but you can start to see some strategy in it. At some point, you can start to think about whether or not you want to take a card or use an ability maybe that helps you or against the other player, because you may not want to deplete a certain pile because the scoring thing on top will benefit your opponent more than it will benefit you. So if you end up depleting it, you know, it could not, you know, it could harm you in terms of number of points. So yeah, at the end of the game, you're going to score for all the stars you have on the different cards you've collected, on your starting hand as well. Oh, and cards can be permanently destroyed as well in this game. And one of the game end, one of the scoring things has to do with how many cards are in the destroyed pile. So yeah, it's a fun game. It's very much like War. You know, it's not super strategic, but there is some strategy in it. It's just a really pretty game. If you like Alice in Wonderland, you might like this game. I'm a sucker for Alice in Wonderland themed stuff, so yeah. So I played this recently and enjoyed my play of it again. So let me put this away now. And all these Space Cowboy games come with like a metal coin. Like they all come with one. And the next game I'm going to show you is actually also a Space Cowboys game, so I'll show you the one that comes with that one. So that is T for 2. The theme doesn't really come out, by the way. I don't feel like the, you know, the different abilities relate to the character that's, you know, depicted on the card necessarily. So, but it's pretty. It's really, really pretty. I love the Alice in Wonderland stuff, so. So let's talk. Oh, and there is this also this clock where you can use like certain things to, and on your turn to maybe move the clock and, you know, get something or do a certain action based on that. Okay, so that was that. And then finally, I think the last game I have is Botanik, which is also a 2-player game from Space Cowboys, and I've talked about this one before. So this one is designed by Frank Cretin, Gregoire Largy, and Sebastien Pochon, and it is the art is by Frank Dion, Space Cowboys, 2 players, and this is an open drafting tile placement pattern building game. I won't talk about it because I think I've talked about it before, so I'll try to find the video in which I've discussed it before. But the really interesting thing about this game is, like, you know, you're trying to create your own machine with different plants and stuff, and you need to score, you know, at the end of the game, you are going to score tiles that are adjacent to each other of the same color with a minimum of 3. So you're trying to get at least 3 of each color in a grouping together. If you have a tile with flowers on it, then you need it to connect to at least one other tile of its color to be able to score points for the flowers at the end. Everything has to connect back to your starting tile, which is this. Anything that does not connect back to it by the end of the game will be removed from the end of the game, removed at, you know, before you score at the end of the game. The way that drafting works is really interesting, and the way that tiles get released is really interesting. So I guess I am talking about it, so I might as well finish. So like, let's suppose, so each player has one side of this like mechanism thingy, whatever, and the active player is going to draw 3 tiles, and then they'll get to place 2 of them. They'll place one, then the other player will place one, and then you'll place one again. So the way to release a tile to have it go into your machine is you're going to put down a tile that does not have something in common with the tile that is here. So like, let's suppose I have this red tile on my side of the board. If I want to release this to me, I could put down this tile, which is yellow and of not the same type, so that will release this tile, and then I'll have to place this tile. So you can end up releasing tiles to your opponent, which you know that they might not want. You know, they could end up doing the same to you. It's a really interesting game in how you release tiles and get tiles. So that is, you know, super interesting, and I highly recommend this game. It is by far my favorite, one of my favorite 2-player games, if not my favorite. This is this, you know, the first player marker, and this is the coin that comes with this game. So yeah, so highly recommend this game. If you guys still haven't checked this out, you really must. Like, anytime I introduce this game to a friend, they absolutely love it. So yeah. Okay, I believe that was all I played. So moving on. Wow, this video is long already. So moving on to games that I am backing. I'm currently backing Fliptown, which is on Kickstarter. Let me see when it ends. So I had discussed Fliptown in a previous video because I had gotten the print and play files from the designer, and I was able to play it multiple times. I laminated my own. Oh, I actually have it right here so I can show you guys. So I had laminated a big board, like a big sheet of paper, so that I could play it at home. You just need a deck of cards and some like markers or whatever. It's a flip and write game that is very combo-tastic. Like you can start to like trigger so many chain reactions and really get going on this game. It's a lot of fun. I really, really like it. So yeah, so I'm backing the production copy of this because it's going to have these tri-fold dry erase boards. And so it'll be much more compact than this big giant sheet that I've made for myself. So originally, I believe it was designed as a solo game, but now it says 1 to 4 players. So I'm curious as to how it'll play multiplayer and whether there will be any player interaction at all, or whether it will just be like playing a solo game with other friends with you. I don't know. So that's on Kickstarter for 13 more days. And it's $25 plus I think $10 shipping. And then the next thing I'm currently backing, but I don't know, or thinking about backing, is Raw on GameFound. So Raw is, if I get it, I would want the deluxe version. I might just reach out to the publisher and see if I can get a review copy when it comes out instead, since I'm really tight on money. So the basic edition, the standard edition, is $40, and then the deluxe edition is $80, double in price. So yeah, it's pretty expensive. It's a Rainier Knizia game, which I've never played before, but I've heard it's an amazing game. It's an auction game. I don't remember when it was originally released, but this edition has art by Ian O'Toole. It just looks really beautiful. So that's on GameFound, something for to think about. But yeah, there's a ton of games on Kickstarter and GameFound, and I've said before that I'm trying really hard to limit what I back because I don't know if I discussed this previously, but when I was doing my taxes for last year, I calculated how much I spent on board games last year out of pocket, like backing them or buying them at retail, and I spent a lot of money on board games. And considering that some of them won't even get played, or they'll get played once and then remain on my shelf for years maybe, or not get played at all and remain on my shelf of shame or opportunity, depending on which kind of, half glass half full or glass half empty, you are. So yeah, so I don't know. It's just, I've been really trying to be very careful about not spending as much money on board games and just trying to really think about whether or not, it's something I should get that will have lasting power, that isn't just, something I want because of a hype, the hype train or the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Is this a game that's going to have lasting power? Like a lot of the games that we tend to play over and over are still games, like we, meaning me and my friends, are older games that, do have lasting power, that are like evergreen. And so I want to be more selective. So that's why, this section is going to be mostly empty because I'm trying to be really good this year. So that is that. Let's move on. What else do I have? Okay, let's go on to games that I've received because I have some exciting stuff to show. So the first one I will show is Veiled Fate. So I'm actually going to be giving this away. So I had shown Veiled Fate before, which was my own copy. And this was sent to me by Ivy Games Studios to give away to one of my Ko-fi Herd members who is Emerald or above for my giveaways that I'm going to be doing, like the bi-monthly, every other month giveaway. So this edition has the plastic miniatures. It does not have the metal ones, but even the plastic ones look really good. So this is in shrink wrap, and I will be giving this away, having a giveaway for this one at some point. The next game I'll talk about is Lost Ones, which I'm also going to give away. I did actually open this up, but the cards are still in shrink. I opened it up because in addition to the Kickstarter edition of this game, they sent me, because I had covered this, so this was part of my contract to receive a production copy. They sent me this, and I just wanted to stick it in the box, so that's why I opened it up. This is like some micro expansion story adventure. It comes with a storybook, so it's like a story adventure game. The cards are still in plastic. I did punch out the cardboard though and put them into plastic baggies, so I just couldn't help myself there. So, and it comes with some metal coin as well, so like this pretty rose gold colored copper coin. And then it comes with, I don't know, some standees for like the cardboard, and then all of these cards which form your map, I think. And then of course the Kickstarter edition, the deluxe edition, comes with the miniatures, so I'll show those to you. So within the sleeve is this thing filled with miniatures. So if this is the kind of game you like, I will be giving this away to one of my herd members as well in a giveaway. So this one comes with the miniatures. And both of these fit into the sleeve. So yeah, you can stay tuned for a giveaway for this game if it seems like something that you might be interested in. So let me just put this back in the sleeve. So this is designed by Gordon Alford. But yeah, so someone has the opportunity to win this as well at some point. Then the next thing I will talk about is, oh, I'm super excited about this, Moon. So this is a game designed by Håkan Garder. I am a huge fan of his games. He designed Villagers and Streets, published by Sinister Fish Games. And so this just arrived yesterday, and I'm super excited to play this. This is a pre-production copy, but it still comes with some really nice tokens, which I put into plastic bags yesterday. So it comes with some of these green tokens, some pink hearts, some more pink hearts, some gray tokens, some yellow sun tokens, and some blue tokens, which I'm guessing is water, and some of these like moon rover thingies. So the different cards. So this is a card, a pick and pass play, it's described as. So each person will start with a base card, and then there are some player aid cards. Then there's 3 different era structure cards. I really love the artwork, so I'm going to show you. So here is like era 1. Is that upside down? No, it's not upside down. So here's like tacos and like all different kinds of stuff. It's really, I just really love the art style. It kind of reminds me of the art style of Luna Capital. So I just really love it. Then era 2 structure cards. Don't mind my chipped nail. Yeah, just super pretty artwork. I just really love the style. Then era 3. Oh, I love this. I had to put it on top, but I just love that so much. Yeah. So, you know, I actually don't know how it plays yet. Because I have the rules, but I haven't read them yet. Here are some expedition cards. And reputation cards, which I think are like some kind of objective cards and such. So there's like gold, silver, bronze. And then there are solo mode cards. These are the last of the cards. So yeah, so that is Moon, which I am super duper excited to play. I hope I get to meet the designer when I go to UKGE next month. That would be super fun. I might actually do a live stream playthrough of this game with the designer and the publisher, so do stay tuned for that if that happens. That would be super duper fun. But yeah, if I do get to meet the designer, I would really like to interview him, but I'm actually going to discuss a little bit about that at the end of the video. So that was the first thing I wanted to show you guys, was Moon. So this will be hitting Kickstarter either, I believe they said, on May 31st or sometime in June probably. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. And staying with the Moon theme, we are going to go to Moonrakers Binding Ties, which is the first expansion I received for Moonrakers. Also a pre-production copy, and oh my god, it is so nice. Like, just look at these boards. They are of the same quality as the production, you know, copy of the game. It comes with a really nice insert in this pre-production copy. So like I said, if, you know, if Ivy Studios allows me to give this away, because I'll be due a production copy, then I can give this away. Oh, I didn't even open the cards yet. But here are some cards, some action deck cards, and then here are some ship parts. And then some of these tokens for the different players. So yeah, and the board here says Reputation on it. It says Reputation board, I think. Reputation terminal. So I'm not exactly sure how it plays yet. I do need to make a video for it. I received it a little bit later than I thought I would, so I haven't had a chance to make a video for it yet. But hopefully soon. I'm hoping I get to play it like this weekend or sometime soon. But yeah, like look at how nice that is. It's so freaking nice. And this fits really nicely into here. Like it fits so nicely into this insert. Like just look at that. Super duper nice. And the rule book. So that is Moonrakers Binding Ties. Excuse me. I received this game Court, which I will be covering. That's hitting Kickstarter in just 2 weeks or so. Court is a trick-taking game. The artwork on this is not final. It's got 3 different suits, I believe, and then some characters in the very end. But yeah, the artwork on this card, I believe, is not final, but there's 3 different suits. It's a trick-taking game, I believe, for 3 to 6 players. So yeah, so I'll be doing a 1-minute overview video of this, and these tokens are not final. I think they're supposed to be crowns if I remember correctly, but those need to, they will be updated for the production copy of the game. And then I have, let's talk about Nemo's War. So I don't know if this will end up being one of my Kickstarter regrets, or who knows, maybe I'll end up giving it away. So Nemo's War, the Ultimate Edition, I don't know what it was. I backed this on Kickstarter, and I thought, I think I backed it at the time when the pandemic first started, and I was really into solo gaming, and I was like, yeah, I'm totally need this. So yeah, but just, it's a very hefty solo game. It comes with this big board. This is why I know I need to just stop backing everything. Just something like if I just see a theme I like, or just something just tickles my fancy just momentarily, I really should just not rush into backing it right away. Should really think things through. Got some extra bags here, but it also comes like with the cloth version of the board, and then like a bunch of these bags are like filled with tokens of some kind, like ship tokens, I think. Just like a whole bunch of them. And then this other bag is filled with some kind of token. There's just a lot of different tokens and dice and like these little plastic ships and a bunch of cards and stuff. So I don't know how this game plays yet either. But just like a lot of cards. I think it's like kind of like a story-driven game maybe. But yeah, I honestly don't know when I'm gonna get a chance to play this. I really have no clue. So probably not for a very, very long time. So that arrived, and then let's see what else. Oh, and then I just have one more thing to show, which is Cactus Town. Oh no, actually I have 2 more things to show. All right, let's show Cactus Town first though, since I already mentioned it. So Cactus Town is a programming game. I'm usually not into miniatures, but this one has a ton of miniatures in it. So it is a big box. So this is designed by Second Gate Games by Raoul Loke. I don't know. But it has all these miniatures in it. And then underneath the miniatures, I think, is there a board? Yeah. Oh, and then there's like player things. Yeah. So here is the board. And then underneath that, we have a bunch of really pretty tokens, like wooden tokens. I think there was an owl in here somewhere. Let me find, oh, there's a snake I just saw. Where's the owl? Oh, here's a cat. Oh, and a chicken. Cat and chicken. Oh, here's the owl. And it's got some really pretty dice. The dice are super duper pretty. Oh my god, I love them. I love them so much. So yeah, this is a game that I was super looking forward to. Like, just look at this die. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Just super, I love the colors. I love the color scheme on this. Just super duper pretty. So yeah, so I really hope I get a chance to play this. And then let me just show you some cards. So I honestly don't know how to play yet, but I absolutely love the artwork. I just really, really love the style of this artwork. But there's different kinds of characters. So let me just show you some of the character screens. So we've got, let's see, or player boards, I think. So we have cowboys. We've got the Lone Ranger. Well, I'll let you guys read it because I can't read it backwards. Bounty Hunter. I don't know what that says. Outlaw, maybe. Outlaws, yeah. So yeah, so these are the different player boards. And then on the bottom, I think we have some rules and stuff like that. Yeah. So that is Cactus Town. So yeah, so this finally arrived. I don't know how to paint miniatures, so I'm not going to be painting them. But yeah, I would like to play this at some point. I hope I can find someone to play this with me. If anyone, I guess I'll check BGG, but I'm wondering which characters these go on, or whether they are supposed to stay there, and then, because I don't think the miniatures will fit with those rings on the bottom anyway, so yeah. But if you want to play with like the wooden standees, you know, the deluxe edition comes with all of those that you can put in the little standee holders as well. So yeah, so that's Cactus Town, which I'm super excited to play. And then the last thing I can show you is my Skulls of Sedlec expansions, which arrived. So I ordered all of the expansions for the Skulls of Sedlec, and I don't have wallets for them, so right now I have them in a Petrichor expansion box. But yeah, so I'm super excited to try this game solo finally. So with solo, I think you have like these like different things you have to try to like make, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna try that solo at some point. I've played it multiplayer multiple times, but yeah, so that arrived. So that's by Dustin Dobson, and I had backed his game Rove on Kickstarter a couple of weeks ago, which I'd mentioned to you guys. So those are all the games that arrived. Now I'm going to stop the video, stop recording for a little bit, and then I'm going to start another section of the video. And so I will see you in a bit. Of course, you can skip over anything you don't want to watch. So yeah, all right. Okay, I'm back. I stopped the video because I have a lot of stuff to discuss, and you can totally skip over this if you don't want to hear it. So maybe a week or so ago, I again started dealing with some harassment on Twitter, and I just want to address some of the things, and hopefully this is the last time I ever need to speak about it, but you know, I'm just really, really fed up of double standards, and I finally just want to put out some, you know, evidence out here, which I don't think I've ever done before. I don't think I've actually ever posted screenshots, so I just want to post some of those and just talk about some things, so feel free to skip over this if you want. So, you know, I'm going to link it below, but in a video a couple months ago, I think I talked about all of the history of when my harassment and bullying started, and it started when I went to Universal Studios in January of 2021, and it started because, quite frankly, not because I took off a mask at a nearly empty park to have a drink, but because I had left a group that was called Tabletop Backer Party, which no longer exists, a group that was run by Daniel Zayas and had Bold Bebo in it, Brittany, I don't even know what her real name is, Brittany something. So she, you know, so once I left that group, they stopped receiving bookings. I was like, you know, I can post evidence for this too, but I was told by a number of publishers that I was the main reason that people would even go to their website to book, and Daniel used to pressure people into booking with him, you know, booking me through his site and then booking all the other creators that they didn't even want to book for, you know, their own stuff anyway. So anyway, once I left, he had even made a post in a group saying that, oh, they stopped receiving bookings. Well, yeah, but he used to be very unpleasant with me in private. The way he used to talk to me was in a very condescending manner. He would keep a large chunk of my profits, which he then later lied about and said that he doesn't do that. So anyway, I just did not appreciate the way he conducted business, the way he spoke to me, so I left his group. And once I left his group, that's when Bebo developed, you know, an issue with me and was out to get me, and she found her opportunity when I went to Universal Studios, even though she had behaved in a hypocritical manner, because she herself had gone to get a manicure, pedicure in the months before at the height of the pandemic. She herself had gone out to eat with her boyfriend at a restaurant, had taken off her mask, but here, you know, a big fuss was being made about me having gone to a park and having taken off my mask. And mind you, it was just me who was being attacked. It was not Jesse Anderson from Quackalope, who I was with at the time. So that is when everything started. And then again, things got bad when I claimed that Burnt Island Games was discriminating against me for speaking up for Palestine. And people said that I was being dangerous, and Helena Capel claimed that I yelled at people. So I'm actually going to post some screenshots, since I don't think I've ever posted screenshots of this before. So let's see. I'm gonna have to add them in after the fact because I'm not super tech savvy and don't know how to bring up stuff at the same time okay. So Eric Lang, and the screenshots you're going to see is I did not save these screenshots about this particularly before. So Eric Lang has blocked me on Twitter. So he blocked me a couple of weeks ago. So you're not going to, maybe it was a month or so ago, I can't remember. So you're not going to be able to see my responses in the tweets that I show of his, and then vice versa, because I have to use a separate account to now see his tweets. So a separate account which no one knows exists, and no, it's not an account to troll or harass people. It's for me to be able to, you know, see when people are talking about me and for me to save those screenshots. So this one says, he made a tweet on May 17th which says, I absolutely refrain from sharing my unsophisticated point of view about Israeli-Palestinian violence, lacking both the experience and the stakes. Saying that, I do repudiate US mainstream media for their sensationalist lack of objectivity. And then I think I responded to that. So let me see if I can find my response. No, that's not it. Okay, so then I responded, and you can see my response because I'll put it up right here. And mind you, this was Helena claiming that I was yelling at him. So this is her, take on what yelling is on Twitter. It doesn't take experience or stakes to denounce the killing of innocent Palestinians. The situation is pretty clear. The Zionists will have you believe it's too complex and ancient of a situation to understand. This isn't about religion, it's about human rights. Then he said, yeah, okay, I already clearly repudiated the imperialist spin that the conflict is too ancient and unknowable and based on religion. I've also had enough feedback from anti-government Israeli and Palestinian friends to know I lack perspective and authority to speak geopolitically. Then I said, okay, but are you or are you not going to condemn the killing of innocent Palestinians? It doesn't take any kind of authority to do that. The facts are pretty clear-cut. You can do basic research and see who is on the wrong side of history here. And then he responded with, let's see, oh God, there's a number of tweets here, so let me see if I can find it. Sorry, please bear with me while I try to find his response to that. Probably should have prepared all this in advance, but there's like a billion tweets. But that's when he started doing whataboutisms, and I'm trying to find it. Okay, I can't remember if this was the very next tweet, but he responded, frankly, this reads like cheap bait. I condemn the killing of civilian Palestinians, and I'm on recent record repudiating U.S. unconditional support of Israel's state violence. Would a search of your timeline produce consistent condemnation of anti-Muslim violence in Myanmar? To which I responded, well, first I'll read someone else's response. Please don't do this, Eric. A common tactic of Likud supporters is to ask what about Myanmar, or the Uyghurs in China, or about the LGBTQT rights in Palestine. It doesn't lead to good places. You're much more logical than that. I'm not sure he is much more logical than that, because he has on multiple occasions stated that whataboutisms are, tactics of trolls, and here he is whataboutisming me. What about Myanmar? What about Uyghurs? Well, Eric doesn't follow me on Twitter. He didn't at this time either. He's never followed me on Twitter. And if he had followed me on Twitter, he would have in fact seen that yes, I did actually in fact post about the Uyghurs in China and the genocide of the Rohingya in Myanmar. I've actually done that a number of times, and I continue to do so. I continue to post about the Muslims who are being killed in India by the extremist Hindu parties, the Hindu nationalist parties in India. So that was Eric's response on there, and then he, I believe, just stopped responding, but I'm going to read you some other responses. So at this point in time, people, so the first thing that happened was Helena. Oh, actually, I want to actually point out his Facebook as well, because that is important too. So on Facebook, he posted a similar thing as well. He posted, my perspective on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is unsophisticated. On this one, nobody needs to hear my sophomore hot takes on a critical geopolitical issue that's been dangerously oversimplified and partisan divided. Listen to those with real stakes and deeper understanding, free from imperial bias. Edit. And then this came later. After some constructive feedback, making a new post to better reflect on my intent better reflect my intent and stance, because I don't like changing the content of old posts once they've been live. So this is the post that was also made on May 17th at the same time as his tweet, to which Helena Kappel responded, and hers is the very first comment on this Facebook post. I very much appreciate this perspective. It's hard to listen to anyone who doesn't have a stake in it. Now, mind you, Helena Kappel, who I was friends with on Facebook prior to this whole thing that happened, had never once posted Palestinian Lives Matter. She's never once posted on Facebook or anywhere else that she cares about the Palestinian issue of what's happening to the Palestinians. I think it's been made abundantly clear that she is Zionist. So after this happened, that's when Helena Kappel decided that she was no longer going to send me a review copy of the precursor to In the Hall of the Mountain King, Fall of the Mountain King it was called, to review, which is, you know, I had been told I would get a chance to review it and make some content on it. It's not that I was, you know, not that I feel I'm owed anything, but that's what I had been told. And then, you know, her mind was changed based on what was happening. So this was during Ramadan of last year, and every Ramadan, which is the holiest month for Muslims, Israelis escalate their attacks on the Palestinians. It happens every single Ramadan without fail. It's the holiest month for Muslims, and they are trying very hard to just, just focus on God, their relationship with God, focus on charitable acts, improving themselves. And Israel decides that this is the best time that they can, attack everyone and escalate their attacks. Sorry, my window is open because I was getting really hot with all these lights on me. So you'll probably hear some noises from outside. So that's when I had messaged Helena to say, you had told me I'd get to review a copy of this game, but I haven't received it. And that's when she responded saying, I'd like to have a video chat with you. And that's when I did not feel comfortable with the way she responded to me, because I'm like, she can just say what she wants to say to me in a response message. Like, why is she saying we need to have a video call about this when we've never had a video call about anything before? It's not how things are done. So yeah, that's why I did secretly audio record the whole recording. And all these people who claim to be on the left, side of the political spectrum, so presumably pro-Palestinian, were, then at that point after, first I had the conversation with her, then I was interviewed by a certain person named David for his channel to talk about my experience, because I was upset with what had happened and how the conversation went. No one believed me when I said that, yeah, Helena, was basically gaslighting me during the whole conversation. No one wanted to believe me, and, she denied some of the things that I had said, but the audio recording made it abundantly clear that I had told the truth on this matter. So then the audio recording was released, and all these people who claimed to be pro-Palestinian were then labeling me as dangerous. So when Eric Lang made a new post, he made a new post, after some reflection and helpful constructive feedback, etc., blah, blah, blah. Then that new post is what Helena said I had strong-armed Eric into making. So again, I already posted the tweets and my response to Eric. Oh, and I don't think I posted my response to him on his original Facebook post, but again, no yelling. But again, these people want to say I yell because that's the only way they can silence me. So yes, on his original Facebook post here, I posted, it doesn't take stakes in the situation to condemn the killing of innocent Palestinians. That is all. That's literally all I posted on his Facebook post, and you saw my tweets. No yelling. But in the audio recording, Helena said that I repeatedly yell at people, and that is the narrative that to this day people have stuck by, that I yell at people on Twitter to make them care about Palestinians. Have never yelled at anyone. In fact, I will show you what yelling on Twitter looks like right now. So this is a person by the name of Calvin who harassed me and bullied me in January of 2021 because he is like besties with Bebo. And so Bebo recently, I guess, got harassed and bullied off of Twitter, so she is not currently on Twitter. And in response to that, he posted this like long thread of him, being outraged at the fact that Bebo got driven off of Twitter by some bullying, even though these are the same kind of tactics and behaviors that these people engage in all the time. Like Bebo was one of the biggest bullies on Twitter and the board gaming space. Anyone who, disagreed with her on anything, if, you upset Bebo in any way, she would basically, try to eviscerate you on the internet and get her minions to come after you. And I happen to be one of her minions, in fact, that supposedly now bullied her and drove her off of Twitter. So yeah, so yelling on Twitter is basically posting in all caps and just shouting at people, and that's not what I did. I've never yelled at people on Twitter to care about Palestinian lives or anything like that. I was always very, as you can see, just calm about the matter. And it's Eric who did the whataboutisms, not me. But if anyone ever did whataboutisms to him about Black Lives Matter, you can sure as hell bet that, you know, that person would not hear the end of it, and they would be labeled as a troll and God knows what else. So that is, you know, an example of some of the double standards and just the pure hypocrisy and bullshit I've had to deal with in this industry. By Helena in the conversation, but people don't want to acknowledge that. They just have confirmation bias. They went into it saying I'm dangerous, and that's what they're sticking with. So fine, but the evidence proves otherwise. So what should we talk about next? Because there is honestly just so much to talk about. So let me see what other kinds of tweets I have here. So let's just talk about and bullied by this one person by the name of Tiffany Lay on Twitter over and over. Prior to January 2021, I did not know who this person was, had no clue who she was, didn't even know who the heck John Della Rose was. John Della Rose is someone who is primarily in the comics scene, from my understanding. So when I started getting bullied in 2021, apparently he had made a blog post about me. Like I said, I didn't know who this person was. I didn't follow him on Twitter. But Tiffany messaged me and started implying that I have some kind of connection with him, or that I know him, or that I talked to him, and I was just like, get the fuck off of my timeline. Like, I don't know who you are. Just get off of my Twitter profile. Stop harassing me about this John Della Rose person. I don't know who he is. So I blocked both of them. I instantly blocked both Tiffany, who I didn't know at this time, and John Della Rose. And ever since then, she's been convinced that I am a friend of these harassers and trolls, because, you know, she believes John Della Rose is this troll on Twitter and whatever. You know, not my problem. But ever since then, I've been having to deal with thread after thread after thread of Tiffany just going out, all out, claiming I'm a dangerous person and just spewing a bunch of hate towards me. And she never crosses out my name when she posts these tweets, which is another, you know, form of hypocrisy from these people. So they always claim that, you know, when you post a tweet of theirs, a screenshot of theirs, you are endangering their lives. Yet they don't care when they do the same to other people. This person has countless time posted screenshots of my tweets on her profile without blocking my name, and I have had to deal with harassers who follow her and are friends with her, who then come on my profile to try to engage in a conversation, but not really. They're just trolling me to try to make me come out as a homophobe or a transphobe and whatever. It's ridiculous. I've had to deal with one of these people recently who eventually I just blocked because this person just was coming on my profile repeatedly, harassing me, trying to get me in a corner to try to make me say I'm a homophobe, which I am not. So, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, you know, I think it's insanity to be this obsessed with someone who you supposedly hate and think is a horrible person. Like, just block me and move on. Like, why is that so hard to do? So I want to talk about how these people have called me a fascist. So someone posted that they think I'm a fascist. So let me just see if I can find that tweet. I don't know if I can find it. Let's see. Just insanity. Okay, I'll find it eventually and then I'll post it up here. But someone posted that they think I'm a fascist, and now I know I'm going to say something which is going to give me a lot of shit, but I think it really needs to be said at this point. So our family plays games, who I had nothing against them, and at this point the only thing I have against them is that they like every single tweet that harasses me and bullies me, or talks shit about me, which isn't true. So every single tweet that Tiffany makes about me, Our Family Plays Games likes. On Twitter, they blocked me a long time ago because of course they were going to block me when I called out their sponsor, who was their only sponsor at the time, Kids Table Board Gaming, which is also owned by Helena Kappel, as being Zionist. Now, if you claim to be for all diversity and all human rights, then supposedly you would also be against Zionism, but no. You know, so our family plays games, and I understand that African Americans have their own long history of oppression in this country and systemic abuse, and not that I need to prove myself to anyone, but I actually very much care about that issue, and that's why I had actually very recently interviewed for 2 attorney positions at a police accountability board in a big city in which African Americans are routinely treated in a disparate manner by the police. So I wanted to be a part of this organization that helps to, you know, bring about policy changes in that city to combat that. So I interviewed for 2 different attorney positions in that organization. In the end, I decided not to go. People are going to be like, oh, she's lying. There was one position I did not interview for, sorry, I had applied for, which I did not even get, which was an animal rights organization, which I really wanted. That would have been a remote position. So I had this job application submitted to an animal rights organization, which they did not interview me for, but that was a position I really wanted. These 2 positions at the Police Accountability Board, they liked me and very much were interested in me for, you know, these positions, but I was not interested because I would basically be at the end of the interviews because I would basically be expected to have no life. So they basically wanted me to work double the amount of hours I work now. Yes, the pay was better, but also some weekends, but that would take away from my personal time, and I actually really enjoy having a work-life balance. So I'm currently a legal aid attorney, and, you know, I work with underprivileged people and people of all different kinds of socioeconomic, racial and ethnic backgrounds. You know, I'm still doing, you know, work that makes a difference, but not in terms necessarily of police brutality and such, which is what these positions would have been. But the fact is, I do care about these issues, and I don't need to prove that to anyone on Twitter. Like, time and time again, I see these people saying, oh, you're a fascist, you're this, you're that, you don't care, you know, you support Trump. Like, I don't think I've actually ever seen someone say that, but, you know, if you're calling me a fascist, you might as well just say I support Trump, which I don't. I actually really hated Trump. But no, like, do the work in real life. Like, these people who want to claim I'm a transphobe, like, I can guarantee that, like, more than half of the people who claim I'm a transphobe have not actually done any work in real life to make a difference for trans people, whereas I actually have. So, you know, and then when I actually utter those words and then they're like, oh, she's actually claiming she did this, and see, like, she's, you know, like, when I actually utter the words, I have trans and gay friends to try to get these people to shut up, then I have to deal with tweets like this one, which I'll just post up now. So, you know, I have to deal with people saying, oh, it's like 2022, like, you're actually gonna, like, say that you have gay and trans friends to try to prove that you do? Like, yes, I do, because you people just will not stop harassing me and will not shut up. Like, what does it take to get you guys to stop and just leave me alone? Like, I am not this person that you claim I am. I'm sorry, but all the evidence is going to prove otherwise. All the testimonies that you would get from people who know me in person would prove otherwise. That I stand for and actually do the work that you guys claim to do online. I actually do it in person. So I actually volunteered my time as an attorney to help trans people legally change their names. What have you done for trans people? I would really like to know. People claim I'm a transphobe because I refuse to change my Twitter handle, which is Puffendor, or because I will not change my 16-year-old cat's name. My cat is 16 years old and has gone by his name Dobby of 16 years, and you expect me to change it because now all of a sudden J.K. Rowling is a transphobe? Like, no. Like, why would I change my cat's name? That is just ludicrous. It's just so absurd, and that is literally what I see people posting on Twitter to prove that I'm a transphobe. Her cat's name is Dobby and her Twitter handle is Puffendor, and she's been to Wizarding World. Like, insanity. However, these people will not call out their white friends who have reviewed and posted content for Harry Potter games and who have gone to Wizarding World. Sandring, I think her name is, who's a big Twitter personality. I don't know what her channel is called. I think it's maybe just called Danielle Standring. I don't know. So she posted a 1-minute overview video of House Cup competition, a Harry Potter game. Did anyone come in her replies to call her a TERF like they do me? Nope, not one person. nowhere to be seen. When Stephen Bonacore, who I got to meet in Florida, really nice guy, really good friends with Eric Lang from what I understand, when he went to Wizarding World, did anyone call him a TERF? Nope, not one single person. When I go to Wizarding World or I post any content that's Harry Potter related, I get called a TERF multiple times by these people. Like, so many times have I been called a TERF, yet they do not call their white non-Muslim friends TERFs when they post Harry Potter content or they go to Wizarding World. So you tell me, is that not Islamophobia? Because people have a tendency to associate Islam with transphobia and homophobia. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows that Islam, in the vast majority, of people's minds, is associated with Islam, with transphobia and homophobia. But no. Modern Muslims like myself, Muslims who have been born and raised in the West, are open-minded, and we are not what you claim we are. So you can call me a TERF as much as you want. That doesn't make me a TERF. I am not a TERF. And all you people who get to, say, trans people always say, I get to say who is and isn't a TERF. I get to say who is and isn't transphobic. Yet when I, as a Muslim, decide how I'm going to handle Islamophobia, when I get to call out Islamophobia and claim what is Islamophobia, then I'm told, no, she's crazy. Like, she's just claiming Islamophobia. That's just her way of covering up her bad acts. No, you are not Muslim. You don't know what it's like to be Muslim in America. You don't know what it's like to have been in your constitutional law class. And when the professor asked your classmates, who here thinks Muslims should be put in internment camps after 9/11 because of what happened on 9/11? And a handful of your classmates raised their hands while you're sitting there to say that I should be in an internment camp with the rest of my family. You have not experienced that. I experienced that. So you do not get to tell me what is and is not Islamophobia. This is absolute hypocrisy and bullshit and double standards, and I am sick of it. So do not come at me with this bullshit again. Like, seriously, you people are absolutely insane. You are absurd. You have confirmation bias. You guys are illogical. You constantly contradict yourselves on your own Twitter timelines time and time again. Like, these people are just truly like crazy, honestly. I just don't understand how anyone can sit there and take their sides on anything. And another example is like, so I'm just going to, maybe not a huge example, but it's just, exemplifies how Muslims just aren't cared about in this community. So, whenever it's a Jewish holiday or any other holiday, all these people who are, most likely all atheist anyway, they will wish other, faiths, a happy Rosh, I don't know if Rosh Hashanah is the happy, I know that there are some Jewish holidays which are somber, so it's not happy, but they'll like wish Jewish people on their holidays, they'll wish Christian people on their holidays, whatever. So Ramadan came and none of these people who claim to be pro everything, pro, every kind of minority there is, wished Muslims a happy Ramadan, which is our holiest month. And after I called them out for that, then Tiffany Lay, who, is not Islamophobic apparently, posted Ramadan Mubarak to all who observe it like 3 days after Ramadan started or something like that. And it only got 1 like. So now, Tiffany, if you are someone who is not Islamophobic and repeatedly calls out people for not having, associated with people from all different backgrounds, why does your post on, wishing Muslims a Ramadan Mubarak have only 1 like? Where are your Muslim friends, Tiffany? Really, I'd like to know, because I have friends of all different backgrounds. I have friends who are Jewish. Growing up, I went to a number of bar and bat mitzvahs. I've been to, more than I can remember right now. I have Jewish friends to this day. I have Baha'i friends, even though I'm Shia. And, but Baha'ism originated in Iran, and they are persecuted in Iran, which I can admit. They don't have as much rights as the Muslim population in Iran. So it's an issue. Yet one of my best friends is Baha'i, who also happens to be Black. So she is from South America. She's Black and she's Baha'i. But I don't advertise these things because I shouldn't have to. I don't need to prove myself to you people that I care about certain issues or whatever, or that I'm not this homophobe or bigot that you all are trying to make me out to be. But like, seriously, why are there no likes on this Ramadan Mubarak post if you're someone who surrounds yourself with people of all different backgrounds, Tiffany? I'll tell you why, because you yourself are a trans person, and the vast majority of trans people think all Muslims are transphobic. So maybe that's why. That's my guess. So yeah, let's move on a little bit. But yeah, so, you know, I do think it's really disappointing that Our Family Plays Games likes every single shitty tweet that is made about me. Tweets calling me a fascist. Like, if you saw what I live for and how I live my life and the principles that I actually have and the career I have, and you know, I'm sure people have looked me up on LinkedIn already. You can see my career history. You can see my internship history when I was in law school. Issues I actually care about. Why is it that every single internship I did when I was in law school was in public interest if I'm such a fascist? What fascist do you know cares about helping underprivileged people or minorities? Please tell me, because I would like to know what other fascist cares about all the issues that I care about. So there's this person who worked for Capstone Games. It was actually, the owner of Capstone Games is Clay. And his sister was hired to be the like the marketing person, whatever you call it. So I just want to move on to some of her tweets now, because, and an incident that happened last year. Let me see if I can find her tweets. There are so many. I don't know where they are. Well, I can just summarize while I find it. So basically, she accused me of trying to get her fired, which is not true. And she said, as a result of me trying to get her fired, that a bunch of people came onto her Twitter profile to harass her. I don't know if that's true or not, whatever, but no, I did not try to get her fired. So I will tell you guys exactly what happened. So prior to her being hired by Capstone Games, I had a very good relationship with Capstone Games. And in fact, Capstone Games, back in the summer of 2020, had me, Anthony and Francis from AntLab Games, and someone who I don't remember from, I think, Board Game Barrage, if I remember correctly, or some podcast or something, come on and do a live playthrough of New York Zoo. So I had a good relationship with them until Jillian, Clay's sister, was hired. And she, you know, was sending out review copies of game to everyone, and I did not receive a review copy. So I sent her an email asking why, to which she had responded. So let's see if I can find these emails. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yeah, so I sent her this email, so I'm going to read it, and I'll even post it for you guys. Hope you are well. Prior to being labeled dangerous, and this was sent on August 2nd, prior to being labeled dangerous by other content creators, which I am not, I had a good relationship with Capstone Games. Since I have been labeled dangerous, I have not been sent any Capstone Games to make content for. I have created content for Capstone Games previously, and prior to you joining the Capstone team, I had a good relationship with the publisher. So I would kindly ask you to reconsider your opinion of me if it has been swayed by others, which I feel it has as you stopped following me on Twitter. If there are any questions I can answer for you, I am more than happy to do so. The game I had requested was Juicy Fruits, and I am now also interested in covering Boon Lake. I look forward to hearing from you. Whatever your response may be, I kindly ask you to respond and not leave me hanging. Thank you. Kind regards. So she responded, thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate it. First, let me address the dangerous part of this. I have seen the way that the reactions of said allegations went down. As a publisher, it is difficult to want to work with somebody that publicly calls people out by name on social media. Yet all of the people she follows do this all the time. I will be transparent and say that I do not want to work with somebody in fear of getting called out on social media over a private matter. I'm not sure if you know this, but you interact with pretty toxic people, some of which have been harassing people in your name that attack people online. Some examples of these attacks are purposefully misgendering people and other pretty awful stuff. I myself was unfortunately attacked by one of these people, one of these now deleted side accounts. I don't want anybody at this company to be subjected to those attacks if we misstep. That is why I have unfollowed you on Twitter. I do not think you're an evil person, which is why I'm keeping you on the press list in case any of this changes in the future. If you would like to be removed, let me know and I will accommodate. Second, we have been dealing with a ton of shipping delays. Many games haven't come in as scheduled, so I really haven't been sending many games out all year. We received our first shipment of games about a month ago. Until I am able to see that things are safe for people online, I am unfortunately unable to send you any review copies from us. If you need any more information from me, please let me know. Thanks, Jillian. Then the following response, which I sent to her, which she then sent to Suzanne, which Suzanne then posted on Twitter, breaching Capstone's own confidentiality rules, is this. Thank you for your response. So this is my response to her. I'm going to list here all of the people who you follow who have attacked me and called me out by name on Twitter, some of them including screenshots of my tweets. And then I have had their people come and harass me on my Twitter account, 100% true, and I had to block those people. Safety should go both ways. If you want me to provide screenshots, I have plenty. Just ask. Here are all such people who you follow who have made me unsafe on Twitter. And then I list 425 Suzanne, which is Suzanne from the Dice Tower, Viva for Victoria, Stuff Straw Games, who harassed me repeatedly on multiple platforms, and Tiffany Lay. The above have all called me out by name, 100% true, and now I will list for you all the people who have subtweeted about me, calling me names such as TERF, implying that I'm dangerous, etc. And why would I list people who subtweeted about me? Because the board gaming community is small, and when they subtweet about me, everyone knows they are talking about me. So let's not pretend that subtweeting is making their tweets any safer for me. And here are all the people I listed who have subtweeted about me, and since then, a lot of these people, like some of these people actually had already called me out by name, so I don't know why I listed as just subtweets. All Games New and Old, Susie Dow, Board Game Feast, Boards and Swords, Ethela, who is Calvin, who harassed me and bullied me repeatedly starting in January of 2021, Game Freak Geek, Zan Dust Zender, Brutal Dan, whose username I think changes multiple times. I don't know what his username is now. Crystal Dax, KG Revia, The One Tar, Ella Loves BJ, and 1 Minute Board Games. And then, I don't know if they have a relationship with 3 Minute Board Games, but he has also done stuff like that to me, but he wasn't listed here. So if you are going to refrain from sending me games because I'm dangerous, then the above people should also be on your list. Now, they like to run away with things when they post things on Twitter trying to make me look bad. I was not implying that all of these people receive games from Capstone, but some of them do. Some of them are content creators. But, in order to make me look like the crazy one, they try to say that I claimed that she sends games to Suzanne. No, I was just saying above that she follows Suzanne, who has made me feel unsafe on Twitter by calling me out by name multiple times. But anyway, so if you are going to refrain from sending me games because I'm dangerous, then the above people should also be on your list, because does only their safety matter and not mine? If Bold Bebo and the One Tar and Brutal Dan, who started this war against me in January because I left Tabletop Backer Party in October 2020, a group that Bebo was in at the time, run by Daniel Zayas, who has since abandoned his own group, because I guess that's the sentence ended there. I thought I was going somewhere else. Okay. After I left that group, they received 0 bookings as I was the main draw to that group. The marketing manager from Chip Theory Games even expressed this to me in a private message on Facebook. So they wanted to destroy me in any way they could. So I was labeled a murderer in January by these people for going to an amusement park and taking off my mask for a picture more than 20 feet away from any other humans. And the park was really empty, by the way. And they have had a vendetta against me ever since then and have tried to destroy my career in any way they can. Do you know how many people I had coming onto my Twitter account from these people's accounts to harass me more than I can count? And that is true. So yeah, subtweeting is just as dangerous as calling out someone by name when you are in as small a community as the board game community on Twitter. Let's not pretend otherwise. So if you are all about safety, I would imagine that you won't be sending games to any of the above people either then, or is it only my safety that doesn't matter? And I am going to copy in Clay, because as I mentioned, I used to have a good relationship with Capstone, and I am disappointed by you blacklisting me and not others who have made me feel unsafe. I did a live playthrough of New York Zoo last summer with AntLab Games and other content creators who have been harassed and with AntLab Games, other content creators have been harassed and called out time and time again by the same people who are now finding any reason they can to attack me. It's a shame that my relationship with Capstone is now non-existent because of this drama you have chosen to take a side in. And then she didn't respond, and then that is when she sent my response to Suzanne, who then posted it on Twitter, and that's when Clay reached out to me. So Clay wrote, Hi Sarah, I hope you are doing well and ready for the convention season. Are you attending Gen Con or Origins this year? We will be at both shows. Hope to see you there. Do you have time for a quick phone call? I'm available most of today. And then he provided his phone number. So then I responded, I'm available to talk, and we had a couple phone conversations in which he apologized profusely for his own company's confidentiality being breached by Jillian sending my private email to Suzanne, which Suzanne then blasted on Twitter. So yes, so that is how that went down. As you can see, at no point did I ever threaten her. No point did I say she should be fired. I never even said that to Clay. I don't know what happened between Clay and his sister. Not my problem, not my business. I know shortly after this, she did step down from the company. It seemed amicable. I don't know what went down between them. That's not my business. But Clay apologized, and then we sent me a number of games. And then when I met him at PAX Unplugged, gave me a number of games that I requested. Because like I said, we had a good relationship prior to Jillian deciding to take a side and in this drama. So that is that. I mean, God, there's just so much bullshit in this industry. It's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, I have so many screenshots which shows these people's double standards and just, you know, time and time again how they are out to try to destroy me for really no good reason. So let's just fast forward a little bit. I mean, there's just so much I could talk about. But, you know, this video is already insanely long. I think we're already going on close to 2 hours. So let me just see what else I can talk about. I want to talk about another of Eric's tweets that he posted recently. So he posted this on May 4th, so very recently. This bears restating. Timeline of a content creator under fire. It is not helping them for you to own their harasser. It helps the harasser. Best harm reduction, block the troll, all their followers, and all who like the harassing post. So if you people believe I am this troll, I am the harasser, I've asked you time and time again to block me. Your people repeatedly come onto my timeline to try to, harass me and try to get me to, try to get me in some big gotcha, like as just happened last week. This person coming onto my Twitter profile and repeatedly tweeting at me, trying to get me to say, yeah, I'm homophobe, which I'm not. It's ridiculous. So, this goes both ways. If you guys think I'm a harasser and a troll, then just block me. I've asked you numerous times to just block me. So block me and stop talking about me. Like, I have nothing to do with you people. I don't want anything to do with you people. I've said time and time again that I care about the safety of my community. My community is people who do not harass me, who have never harassed me, who do not bully me, who do not post shit posts about me on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or all the other platforms where you people have done this. The double standards are insane. So Stephanie Straw, since I have a couple of her screenshots from Facebook, I'm just gonna, this person posted so many tweets and about me on Twitter last year. She came on YouTube, posted countless comments on YouTube about me, which she has since deleted. So she was someone who harassed me a lot. And when I called out people for unfollowing me after the whole Burnt Island thing went down, because I claimed people were being Islamophobic, because as soon as Helena tells everyone to unfollow me and unfriend me, everyone did. No one wanted to be objective about the whole Palestinian issue. Everyone just decided, yeah, Sarah's dangerous. Let's just unfollow her. Islamophobia. That is Islamophobia. You're not looking at it objectively. You're not, taking it in a way that you would take it if it had been about trans rights. Instead, you just decided to listen to your Zionist friend who does not give a shit about Palestinian babies being killed. Will ironically post, images on her Facebook profile to show solidarity for all the Indigenous people and children of Canada who have been killed, but does not give a shit about the Indigenous people of Palestine being killed. But, whatever, you guys don't care about that. So, I was labeled as dangerous, and then Stephanie Straw, so when I called out people for unfollowing me for what I believe to be Islamophobia, everyone said, oh, see, this is dangerous, her calling out people by name. Yet when Stephanie makes a whole Facebook post about Rodney Smith unfriending her on Facebook, no one calls her out for being dangerous. She even implies in her post that Rodney Smith unfriended her because of mental health reasons, depression or whatever, or because he might be homophobic or something like that. Yet no one had issues with her posting that long post on Facebook when she got unfriended by Rodney Smith. Again, double standards. So many freaking double standards in this industry. What else can we talk about here? Here's a post of Suzanne's from Twitter on April 15th. I'm tired of taking shit and being expected to take some mythical higher road. Folks, not you, or always ignore it or don't sink to their level, but it's always to folks like me. Where are those people telling folks like that to stop being ignorant, lying, mean-spirited shits? Yeah, I can say the same exact words to all of you. Where are the people telling you assholes to stop being ignorant, lying, mean-spirited shits to me? Because that is exactly what you have been to me since 2021. Funny how that only goes one way. Let's see, what else can I talk about here? Like I said, I have so many. Oh, here are some tweets that I want to point out that were also in response to Eric Lang's Palestinian stuff and are really good tweets. So let me just read these. I actually didn't see these at the time. But one second, let me find the beginning of this thread. Because I think this person makes some very good points. I don't know who this person is, and I don't know if they, you know, would still be on my side in this whole issue, but really good post. One second. Where's the beginning? Oh, here's one post. Okay, so Eric Lang posted on June 12th, 2021. I just read a death threat aimed at Helena Capel from Burnt Island Games. Based on professional experience, this won't be the last. When you level inflammatory, high-stakes accusations at an industry professional, this is one of the outcomes you enable. Okay, so they're allowed to call out bigotry whenever they want, but when I call out the same thing, it's me leveling accusations, inflammatory high-stakes accusations at an industry professional. When they do it perfectly fine, which they do time and time again to people that they think are bigots or whatever, but when I do it because they're not concerned about Palestinian lives, that's me being dangerous. So someone responded, while I don't in any way whatsoever approve of a death threat, and neither do I, and I shouldn't even have to say that, being uttered, am I missing something about Helena Capel and Sarah Shaw's interaction? Shaw posted the audio and every claim Shaw made about that interaction seems to be true. Capel does seem to be pressuring Shaw to divorce her political commentary on Palestine and interactions with figures such as yourself from her board game content. Yep. Yet this request does not seem to be being made of any other content creator. Absolutely correct. Death threats are never okay, but Shaw does seem to have a relevant point that swayed me to Sarah's side in that convo. Oh, I guess I missed one tweet here, 2 of 3. Where the heck is 3 of 3? I don't know where 3 of 3, let me find 3 of 3, sorry. Where the hell is 3 of 3? I don't know where 3 of 3 went. Okay, I don't know where 3 of 3 went, but I think I missed the first part of the conversation. 2 of 2. Oh, it's 3. Okay, I'll just read this part. The relevant point that swayed me to Sarah's side in that convo was when she correctly pointed out that no company stopped working with content creators who used their public-facing social media to support BLM. True. In point of fact, we saw just the opposite happen last year when people stopped supporting publishers and content creators who refused to support the BLM movement. Sarah repeatedly asked Helena to explain how her support of Palestine would start fire for Burnt Island Games when using content creators who openly support BLM would not. 100% correct. So this person, absolutely correct in what they just stated. Sorry, that's a different person actually. So this person was different than the other tweets I was reading. So these are 2 tweets, and then it looks like they made another tweet, but I don't know where that one is right now. God, it seems like all my screenshots are out of order and it's really annoying. So yeah, so whoever that person is, they're logical. All the other people are not. So yeah, let me go back to the ones that I was reading. While I don't in any way whatsoever approve of a death threat being uttered, Yeah, I already read that, but they had some other tweets. What was said on the recording Shaw posted, it did sound like undue pressure and discrimination, and if I felt like I understood her anger. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's how it is for everyone. Maybe Shaw is victimizing as much as she's being victimized. All I can say is that I am very torn up to see this, and I hope the gaming community reunites with anti-discrimination, empathy, and equity as core values. So whoever these two people are, they actually got it. Like, there are so many double standards when it comes to BLM and Palestinian Lives Matter. And I was completely gaslit by Helena and Burnt Island Games, but all these people who claim to be Palestinian Lives Matter people, you know, called me dangerous. It's absolute bullshit. It's 100% bullshit and hypocrisy and double standards. And they have confirmation bias, and it's just, I don't understand how any sane or logical person could take the side of people like Eric Lang, like Helena Kappel, like all these people who want to call me dangerous after what happened last year. So yeah, I was gonna go somewhere else with this, but honestly, there's just so much stuff. So my policy is, for my Twitter account, if I see someone harassing someone who I consider to be a part of my community, and my community I consider people who I am friendly with, who I have friendly interactions with, who is a lot of people. I have friendly interactions with a lot of people, and I genuinely care about those people, and if they were being harassed, I would do something about it. Do I care about my own harassers and bullies being harassed and bullied? No, I don't. Why should I care about people who have made my life miserable time and time again? I don't care about them. So no, when Tiffany posts that I am, you know, not moderating my profile, I've moderated my profile in the way I need to moderate it for myself. I have blocked out all of you hypocrites and people with double standards who repeatedly harass me and bully me. That is how I have curated my profile. You curate yours the way you want to, and I'll curate mine the way I want to. But this person, Tiffany, is hell-bent on making multiple threads about me time and time again to say that I'm a dangerous person because I will not block out people that she doesn't like. Like, you don't block out people who come on my profile and have harassed me, like this photo mode person, whoever the hell that is, or this one other person who recently commented on your guys' stuff when everyone was being very happy about me blocking them and posting about how it's a badge of honor to be blocked about me. Let me see if I can find that. So yeah, so someone had recently posted that it's a badge of honor to be blocked by me, and then a bunch of people commented on that person's post, and one of them was like, oh, what is Sarah's deal? Why does everyone hate her? And then people responded to him, and then he posted on his own Twitter profile that, oh wow, if you want to, he posted something stupid like, oh, the way to get a lot of DMs, direct messages on Twitter, is to come to the realization that someone is toxic because everyone will message you about that person. So presumably everyone messaged him to tell him how toxic I am. Then what did this person do? This person came onto my Twitter profile to tell me he's had enough of me. Someone I'd never interacted with before came on my Twitter profile to repeatedly tweet at me that he's had enough of me and my toxic bullshit, and that I just need to stop being a toxic person. Yet that's not trolling, that's not harassing someone, so I had to block this person like I do all of your guys' minions, because that's what they do. So if you think people from your side do not harass and troll people, you are wrong. You're 100% wrong. They do, and I've blocked all of them. So I curate my profile to keep it safe for me. And that is what I do. Yeah, so you know what? I'm just tired of double standards. When people like Suzanne claim that they, as an Asian person, are being treated differently or told to shut up or whatever, everyone goes and takes her side. When I claim the same thing, how dare she? If I claim Islamophobia, how dare she claim Islamophobia? Because of course all these non-Muslims know what Islamophobia is, but I as a Muslim don't know what Islamophobia is. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, so anyway, so let's fast forward. So I know that people are pissed that I haven't blocked John Della Rose from my profile. I don't follow him. I don't agree with stuff that he posts. He does have a very offensive sense of humor, as he states. Those are his words, not mine. I personally would never use slur words in a humorous way. I would never engage in that kind of behavior that he does, which he calls, I believe, there's some talk show host he referenced, Howard Stern. He says it's a very Howard Stern kind of humor. I've never seen Howard Stern's show, so I don't know what that's like. Growing up, I never watched stuff like that. I don't watch stuff like South Park. I don't watch shows like that. And that's another thing I want to address. When the whole TGG Games and Frog issue happened, and everyone's like, oh, why is Sarah working with TGG Games? First of all, that was all to distract from someone who labeled me as dangerous and claimed I have mental health issues running from the Gamma board, and me voicing my displeasure about this person running for the Gamma board. That whole TGG Games Frog issue was brought up right after Jeff voiced his concerns about that person, Tiffany Cares, running for Gamma, and I voiced my concerns for it. And then the campaign, which had been live on Kickstarter for a while already, was all of a sudden attacked, and then there were coordinated attacks against me on Twitter where people were just posting threads and threads about me on Twitter. Like, whenever they post, harassment and stuff on Twitter, it's perfectly fine because they think they're justified in doing it. But if anyone else does it, no one else could possibly be justified. And if anyone else does it, they're a fascist or whatever. So the frog issue, when that happened, someone tweeted at me who I don't even know, was like, oh, Sarah, what do you think about this? And they showed me an image of the frog making this symbol, which I guess is a racist gesture of some kind, or can be perceived as that way. And I said I'd never seen it because it's true. Then Tiffany Lay, my biggest fan, posted a thread on Twitter saying, oh, Sarah's, claiming that she didn't know what that frog is. Bullshit. Actually, no, I didn't know what that frog is. Like, not everyone spends 24/7 online, Tiffany. Some people have lives. Some people are behind the times when it comes to slang or whatever, these young people and God knows what else is going on in the world. Like, I am someone who doesn't learn what a new word means until it's been out for like 2 years. If you listen to the way I talk, you will see that I never use slang words that are new because I don't take the time to learn them. I just can't be bothered. I don't care. I don't care about words like yeet and bay, like before anyone else, which took me forever to learn what that meant as well. Some people have lives, Tiffany. Not everyone sits there learning about every single issue that is happening in the world. I don't have the time for that. I have a full-time day job, which also sometimes takes me into the evenings because some of my court cases are in the evenings. So no, I didn't know what that frog was. But again, these people want to make assumptions about everyone, and they think that everyone should be held to the same standards as them. Like, oh, I know what this frog is, so clearly Sarah knew what it was and was just lying. No, I was not lying. I didn't know what that stupid frog was. But even once I learned what that frog was, I stand by my statement. It was not intentional. I do not believe it was intentional. Jeff took down the frog, and once he took it down from the game and the campaign site, yes, his reaction was bad, and we all agreed that he behaved in a way that you should not behave when you're trying to apologize for a mistake. So we all agreed on that the reaction was bad. So what else do you guys want from me? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, stop dragging me into things. When I was on vacation in March, I got messaged on Twitter like, oh, people are talking about you on Board Game Geek again. And I'm like, what do you mean again? And then I go on Board Game Geek and I see these posts being made about me. I've seen posts about me on Reddit where people are like, oh, Sarah is such a complicated being, like someone should do a study on her. Like, no, I'm not a complicated being. I just want to be left alone, stop being harassed by you lunatics. Just like, leave me alone. Like, everything you've said about me is 100% not true, and the life I live would prove that. The principles which I live by would prove that. So I hope that this is the final time I will ever have to address any of this bullshit. I don't want to deal with it time and time again. It's lunacy. I know it's even lunacy for me to respond to it. Like, here's the thing. These people are screaming into an echo chamber. They are yelling at the same people who already believe as them. by me sitting here, I know that people, my haters, watch my videos. And how do I know that? Because people will send me screenshots of tweets after I say, after I talk about something like this. Tiffany undoubtedly makes a huge ranting thread like she always does. I swear this person has made at least 30 threads about me by now. It's insane. So, they go and make threads about me, and it's lunacy because you're shouting into an echo chamber. It's like literally shouting into an echo chamber. Everyone who follows Tiffany already believes as she does. So what is the point? Everyone who follows me already knows I'm not this person you claim I am. So, what is the point? When can we just stop this bullshit and you guys can just leave me alone so I can leave you alone? I don't want to have to keep on responding to this bullshit time and time again. And I know my responding is not going to do anything. I know these people are going to listen and find something where maybe I misspoke or maybe I said a word differently or something to hang on to and then criticize me and harass me again and again, because that's what these people do. That's what people with no lives do. They sit there and they think that they're making a difference in the world by shouting on Twitter. That is not how you make a difference in the world. You want to make a difference in the world? Go out and volunteer. Find causes to care about. Do the work. Do the actual work and make a fucking difference in this world. I care about animal causes. What do? I've organized protests. I've attended protests. I care about Palestinian lives. What have I done? When I was an undergraduate, I organized an event where I invited Noam Chomsky to campus to give a talk about Palestinians and the Palestinian-Israeli I won't call it conflict because that implies it's equal, but the oppression of the Palestinian people. That's what you do. When you care about something, you actually do the work. You don't sit there shouting on Twitter thinking that that's going to make a difference. It's not making a difference. You're shouting into an echo chamber. You're shouting into a void, really. So stop doing it. It's not doing anything. Just go out and do something real. I cared about, that's another thing. Stephanie Straw claimed, oh, Sarah's only pretending to care about Palestinian lives so she can get clout. What clout? None of you care about Palestinian lives. After last year, all of you who pretended to care about Palestinian lives last year did not post a single thing about the atrocities happening in Palestine this past Ramadan, which just ended. Ramadan ended, not the atrocities. Ramadan ended this past Monday. How many of you posted about Palestinian lives matter this Ramadan when tensions again were high and attacks on Palestinians were escalated? None of you posted about Palestinian lives on your Twitter profiles. Because you don't care. Last year, you pretended to care as a way to shut me down and be like, see, we care about Palestinian lives matter, and we still support our Zionist friend Helena from Burnt Island Games. It was a tactic to silence me, and anyone with even half a brain can see that. If you guys gave a single shit about Palestinian lives matter, you would have said something about it this year, but none of you did. So it's so obvious what your guys' agenda is. It's so obvious what you guys really are. You are not activists. You are just people who shout on Twitter. So when I cared about Palestinian lives and people like Stephanie Straw were claiming I did it only for clout, no. Is that why I organized an event on campus when I was an undergraduate? Is that why I actually went to graduate school for Middle Eastern Studies and took classes in Judaic studies and learned more about the Palestinian conflict? Because I just wanted to get clout many years into the future, because I'm some kind of a future teller and could see that, oh yeah, someday people in the board gaming community are going to say this about me, so I need to go and learn about the Palestine conflict right now so that I can use that years in the future to show them, no, I actually get, you people are insane. You people are literally insane and illogical. When you care about an issue, you actually do the work. I care about elephants. I've saved up my money to go volunteer at a sanctuary in Thailand twice. I've organized protests. I've written articles. When I was in law school, I was the president of my of the Student Animal Legal Defense Fund chapter of my law school, and I organized events to educate people about animal rights and the issues that animals face in this world. What have you guys done? Show me what you guys do, because clearly it's nothing except yell on Twitter. So show me what you've done for trans people, because clearly I've done more for trans people than you have, and apparently I'm the TERF. So And one thing I want to end this with is Rodney Smith, who has also since blocked me on Twitter because I'm so dangerous. One thing that Bebo and I can agree on, and it's probably the only thing that Bebo and I will ever agree on, is Rodney only cares about an issue when all those people in this group make a big fuss about that issue. Black Lives Matter, Rodney cares. Stop Asian Hate, Rodney cares. He could tell that the Palestinian issue was not something that was going to last. It was just a way for people to pretend they care, so he didn't make any tweets about Palestinian Lives Matter, and he never will, because you people are never going to give a shit about Palestinian Lives Matter, or about the Uyghurs, or about the Rohingya, or about the Muslims being slaughtered as we speak in India, having their homes burned down as we speak in India, being raped in India as we speak by Hindu nationalists. None of you are going to give a shit. None of you give a shit about the Muslims being starved to death in Yemen and who have been being starved to death for God knows how many years now. You people don't give a shit about Muslims anywhere in the world. So let's not pretend that you care when I voice my concerns and point out your guys' double standards and hypocrisy. Don't pretend that you care. I mean, you've shown this year that you clearly didn't care about Palestinian lives. And so yeah, Rodney Smith is never going to care about Palestinian Lives Matter until these people somehow, someday actually start caring and pressuring publishers to care. And then all of a sudden, you'll see Rodney Smith care too. Rodney Smith cares about issues when he sees that it could affect his own clout in the industry. And honestly, you people need to stop worshiping personalities in this industry like they're God. Two people who are worshipped in this industry are Eric Lang and Rodney Smith, and it is insane. They're human, they're not perfect, they are quite frankly far from perfect, and people need to stop worshiping them. This industry has so many issues, and honestly, someone should do like a study on people in this industry and find out why they are the way they are, because it's batshit crazy. It really is. So I yet again wasted more than an hour talking about these issues because people are crazy, and it's crazy for me to even respond to it, I know, but I just wanted this information out there. I'll talk about the Johnny Depp trial for a little bit. So I've been following the Johnny Depp trial. So when I work from home, I have it playing on in the background if it's on. If I'm working from home, sometimes I'm at court or whatever and I can't watch it then. So I'll catch up on the trial in the evening. Right now they don't have court on Fridays, but then they're on a break next week anyway. So as an attorney, it's been really interesting for me to watch the Johnny Depp trial. And just seeing all the testimony of the witnesses, seeing Johnny Depp be questioned, seeing him, cross-examined, seeing the evidence that's been presented, the witnesses that the prosecution brought forth, and now we've seen, some of the witnesses from the defense, and we've seen Amber Heard take the stand. She will be cross-examined when they come back to court on the 16th, I hope, which I'm really looking forward to. All the evidence clearly points to Johnny Depp having been the abused and Amber Heard having been the abuser. However, Johnny Depp is not. The important thing for Johnny Depp is to be heard. He's made that very abundantly clear. He said that what matters more to him is not winning this case, is that he finally gets to tell his story. And that is so important. I am so glad that this trial happened and that it's public. I know it's, in many ways, it shouldn't have been public. Like, why is it our business? But this was a public figure who got defamed by Amber Heard, all of her lies, and so clearly lies. All the evidence proves, points to it being lies. He had his reputation destroyed. It ruined his personal relationships. It ruined so much for him. And now he has an opportunity to talk and be heard, and for the evidence to be seen, and for people to realize, yes, it was you, Johnny Depp, who was abused. It was you who was wronged. And, we finally get to hear him. We finally get to see what happened to him and empathize with him and see the truth. And I am so happy for him. I don't know what the jury is going to say. I hope that the jury, like most of humanity right now, sees that Johnny Depp was the victim and will rule in his favor, because truly he was the victim. But I'm glad that he got to tell his story and that the truth is out there. And that's what I was basically doing right now. You know, I've shown some screenshots, I've put the truth out there. People have claimed that I'm dangerous. Yet again, you know, as I discussed in a previous video, I think, or have in some other previous videos, maybe not the long one, like when that whole TTS drama happened and Zoe, a trans person, was on Tabletop Simulator and talking in the Discord and about their trans identity, and then everyone, you know, she got banned, or they got banned, I don't know, I think she, and then everyone was like, oh, now TTS mods are calling her dangerous as a way to silence her. That's exactly what you people did to me. So, you know, these double standards do not fly. If trans people can be the only ones to claim what is or isn't transphobia, then guess what? I, as a Muslim, can say what is and isn't Islamophobia. Not you non-Muslims who don't even have any Muslim friends, have probably never interacted with a Muslim, Tiffany, that I'm talking to you. So yeah, don't tell me what is and isn't Islamophobia. Enough with the double standards. Just leave me alone. Block me. I have all of you blocked. You have all of me blocked. That should be the end of it. We should not be having this back and forth time and time again. This insanity needs to end. So yeah, so I hope that's the last I will ever have to speak about this. So let me end on a high note. I know that there was a lot I left out. Like, I have folders and folders of screenshots of these people because, you know, another thing they like to try to downplay is my education. Yes, I am an attorney and I do know what defamation is. I do know what libel and slander are. And yeah, I do think I have a pretty good case if I choose to ever bring one. So, you know, you people can mock me being an attorney all you want. It doesn't scare me. So bring it on. So yeah, so let me leave you all with a question. Let me find my document. I have like a billion windows open here, and I had a question for you. Oh, I had actually posted this question on Twitter before, but I know not everyone follows me on Twitter because it's quite a volatile place. So my question is for you is, how do you decide when a game is truly worth your hard-earned money being spent on? Because like, I am seeing now that I have a problem here. I have way too many board games. When you end up having a collection of over 500 games and you don't play board games every day of the whole year, then that means you are going to have games which are going to sit on your shelf unplayed for a year or longer. And that's a problem. Like, should I have games that just remain on my shelves unplayed for more than a year? But that's also the life of a content creator too, and especially a content creator who doesn't have a life partner to play board games with at home, because a lot of content creators do, and that's how they get to play more games than I do, but I don't have that at the moment. So I really need to cut down on spending. I need to stop giving into FOMO. I need to stop backing every game just because it has artwork I like, or a theme I like, or a mechanic I like. I need to start determining whether that game has lasting power in my collection, whether it's a game I like, or if it's going to be like redundant. Is it going to be too similar to a game I already have? I really need to start making some hard decisions about culling my collection because it is out of control. I've taken a number of boxes to my sister's house to put in her temperature controlled basement, but eventually she's going to stop letting me do that. I mean, her basement is huge, so there's still a lot of space. I could still, add more boxes too, but I think eventually she'll probably be like, stop bringing boxes to my house. But yeah, so I really need to start culling more games, I think, and stop backing more games. And I think I've been doing a good job this year. I haven't calculated how much I've spent on board games in 2022 so far, but I think I've done much better so far. So I'm proud of that. So tell me how you decide when, I think I might have asked this before, but I'm just gonna ask it again. How do you decide, when to back a game and spend your money on it? Or do you have a budget put aside for board games, and if you reach that budget by the end of the year, it's like, that's it, and then maybe a surplus budget can be transferred to the next year? Maybe I should do that. Maybe that is a good way of doing it. Just saying, all right, I'm gonna allocate this much of my salary to board games, whether that's retail or Kickstarter, and if I reach that amount in October, too bad. But if I don't use all of it, then the surplus can be transferred over into next year's budget. I think I might do that. And if you guys do that, what is your budget? If that's not too personal of a question to ask. I won't say how much I spent on board games last year, but it was too much. Even as a content creator who gets production copies and review copies, I spent way too much on board games last year. and I cannot believe I did that. So yeah. So anyway, I am so sorry for another long rambling video, but you know, I really hope it's the last time I've ever had to do that. I'm just glad that this time I put up some screenshots. I don't think I've ever put up screenshots before, and just got to tell my side of the story, and hopefully that will be the end of that. I hope. All right, guys, until next time, bye.